Okay, welcome to today's next level session. Have had a busy week, of course. You guys can find the replays at insiderealestate.com/webinars. And what we've been working on this week, kind of the running theme, has been this homeowner survey ad we've touched on a bit. And I just want to give you the quick update as promised yesterday on that. So again, to refresh everybody's memory who wasn't here, here's the homeowner survey page that was built in Google Forms on Monday. And we're offering a $100 gift card. So I got one response yesterday. Here we go. So here's what the data looks like in Google Forms as it comes in. It's pretty cool. So 20 plus years, occupant, gave me the opinion on where they think house values are going. No, definitely not selling. So that's going to happen. And I've actually asked this question in campaigns in the past, and you'll get a nice mix, but you'll see, I'll see maybes come in soon, I'm sure. And then they didn't want the detailed report, and I got the address there. So the cost to generate that one, and again, this is super early, right? But it was $22.94 so far. So Google's algorithm, Facebook's algorithm will, of course, make this cheaper as time goes on. It'll get more efficient as it learns, but I did spin up a split test version of the ad. So just another image that maybe would catch more attention, and I'm running them against each other just to see which will perform better. So, any campaign like this, you're buying data in the beginning, right? But you're spending money on clicks and trying to figure things out until you arrive at something that works well. In this image, I put a picture of the Home Depot gift card in there to see if that would help get a little more engagement. But I was encouraged that on the first handful of clicks, we did get somebody to go through and answer all those questions. And I think, I don't know what the cost was, but we'd be willing to pay more. I don't know what you'd be willing to pay, but if somebody says yes, they're definitely going to sell, or maybe if they can get the right price and they do want a home valuation, if those come in around somewhere in the $50 to $100 range, it might be worth it in this market. Could be. So let me know what you think of that, guys. As always, you can feel free to chat any questions you have in. That's just a quick update on that. We had a question or a request in the next level mastermind room from Tracy. Tracy just asked, she'd like to see a marketing checklist of what to do every week. And that's interesting. So what I did was I started to come up with some things that you might do on a recurring basis. And each of these would probably be something that you schedule a recurring appointment with yourself for. So think of each of these items. If you're trying to arrive at a checklist of things you could do every week, each of these items would require maybe 15 minutes to a half hour to kind of knock out. And it all comes down to getting them onto your task list and onto your calendar, or it's just not going to happen, right? For a lot of us, we just operate, look at the calendar in the morning. What appointments do I have, right? What else is going on? What meetings? And then if you can get this stuff scheduled in as a meeting, then you've got, something that'll keep you honest and keep you moving. I think a lot of people's issues with KV Core, with the complexity of the system, or with marketing their real estate business in general, is that consistency, right? Building systems that kind of happen over and over again. So here's a few things that I listed out. We can touch upon what is involved in these. So 5 in lead generation, 5 featured listings, 5 feature listing or property search of the day, social posts. So we talk a lot about this. This is where you go and you build a squeeze link in KV Core to a specific listing or a set of listings, and you post it every morning, every afternoon. So, you might schedule a recurring appointment with yourself at 9:30 a.m. every day to do a social post. Maybe you say, hey, anytime I get a new listing, I'm going to run a property boost for that listing because you know that it'll generate leads. So that could be either a recurring appointment, or you could put this in your listing servicing plan. If you have like a checklist you run through for any new listings, this would probably be caught as part of that. I have cold message 10 people on social. So you guys don't have to add all these. You could pick and choose, but I'm trying to build a list of things that you might add. And this is maybe 2 people a day or 10 people at once. But we talked about this the other day, right? Where you go into Facebook and you just kind of say hi to people and ask them if they wouldn't mind you sending them updates about $1 million homes or your weekly list of deals. Or is it okay if I send you income properties once a week? The latest income properties or fixer-uppers popping on. And for that, you're just going to kind of cruise your friends list right here. Where's that at? Oops, those are requests, all friends. And you can kind of work through and build an organic list. And this is probably something you're more likely to do if you're, you have more time than money. Prepare for open houses. So, in kvCORE in the marketplace, you can run Property Boost for your open houses. We've talked about putting lead capture on your open house flyers. In a recent session, we were talking about that on open houses. So, if you're doing the open house, you're putting a flyer together that people are going to pick up, why not have a text code on the back or a URL on the back of it or on the front that is a call to action to help people get engaged with your lead capture points more. So I just have that in parentheses, like something you would do. But preparing for open houses, definitely one, because open houses are big marketing opportunities. Check results on existing lead campaigns, adjust or cancel based on performance. I think a lot of us end up spending money on lead sources and don't, you spend money on a lead source, but you forget you're doing it, or you don't kind of cut it when it doesn't perform, or you cut it too soon too. So just having an appointment with yourself to check on those things. What is it? Is it Realtor.com? Is it Zillow? Is it the Google Ads program that's offered in kvCORE Marketplace? Whatever it is, make sure that it's running optimally so that you're not letting money fall through the cracks if it isn't. And, if there are issues, take some time every week, call it your lead generation review for a half hour and just make sure it's working right. And along those lines, tweak it. So if you're running your own Facebook campaigns, it's easy to forget you're doing that and just let it run for a while. But maybe you go and try a split test campaign like you saw I did here, where I put a new image up. So the important part of that is just blocking that time out and adjusting. And then time or budget permitting, if you need it, consider adding a new lead source. So that could be done using the growth system methodology we have in Next Level, or it could be any number of third-party platforms or solutions. So let me look at the questions coming in here, and then we'll continue. Good question from Roger. He's asking, when you post a property search of the day, do you post to your personal page or business? You can post to your business for sure, but your business page doesn't get a lot of reach realistically. Facebook wants you to spend money on ads in order to get that. So I'm always talking about personal when I'm talking about that. So I'm assuming you're going to go to LinkedIn, you're going to go to Facebook, Twitter, TikTok if you're TikToking, and you're going to do it there. Let's see. Like I must have done one recently. I don't know why this one chat from Matt keeps popping up. So here's our property list of the day example post we did last week. Homes in Pinellas County on the beach, just a 5-minute drive away. This is just an example, and you can just slice and dice up your IDX and come up with something like this every day. Was the idea there. And there's a lot more things. I'll try to add more here, and I'll include a link to this under the video in the members area and in YouTube. But if you consistently kind of run through this checklist, it could be 1 2-hour appointment with yourself, or a morning every week that you dedicate to this lead generation. You can always schedule your social posts, right? So yeah, that's lead generation. And then conversion, probably should have more here, but if you just do these 3 things with kvCORE, you're pretty far. So check for any leads without alerts, and then add alerts. So one big source of missed opportunity in kvCORE is you're getting contacts in here, but they're not getting a regular alert from you with properties. And that's probably one of the biggest things that can engage people. So one way to filter to find who doesn't have alerts is you're going to go to the Smart CRM. There we go. We're going to go to filters right here. Smart CRM. And then under behavior, you can filter everybody who doesn't have alerts. And then as you find them, I have been bad at this. See lots of missed opportunity here. You can go into the contact and just add an alert based on how they might have come in. So it's kind of good to do that sweep once a week, I think, just to see if anybody doesn't have an alert set up. And now you're using the system to automatically incubate somebody, with alerts being a really good way to do that. Send a blast email to your entire database. I think this is huge. We talk in the growth system section about sending something cool once a week. That could be my deal of the week, an event invite, a webinar invite, whatever it might be. There's so many different options there. We've covered that a lot, but calendar this, put this should happen like every Thursday, like clockwork, or every Saturday morning or whatever. Communicate with the people who are in your database so they don't forget you exist. And by communicating, of course, you create conversations as people reply to those communications. And then the last thing I have is adding to or refining smart campaigns. So if you have a recurring appointment to do that, you might say, okay, well, I've got my buyer 1-year nurture campaign, but once a week, I'm going to add something else to this. So I'll add another touch. And a lot of people get bogged down with campaigns like, oh, I need a campaign template. That's like a 3-year campaign, right? Well, realistically, all you need to do is stay ahead of your oldest lead on that campaign. So you could build the campaign this week with 1 touch for this week or 2 or 3 touches, like our conversation starters. But if you have that recurring appointment to come back once a week, you just make it longer and longer and longer. And that's a good way to make sure that you don't get burned out trying to do this really big project. To add 1 more email template or 1 more text template takes 5 minutes, and you just do it and you're done once a week. So that's what I had so far. If I think of more things, or if you guys want to chat here, some other things that should be on this list that I'm just drawing a blank on, hopefully this helps out Tracy and anybody else who might be interested. What steps should I run through? Keep in mind, any of these could be once every other week or once a month. The key thing is recurring. It's a checklist. These are actions that happen on a regular basis. All right, so Elizabeth's question here. If I do a free home evaluation paid ad to a custom audience, will it only go to that neighborhood? Not on Facebook, unfortunately. So Facebook only lets you run ads 15 miles around a specific city, or you can run to a whole county. Now, what you can try to do is just, oh, wait, I didn't read your question closely enough. So what you can do is call out that neighborhood in the body of the ad. That'll definitely help. But you asked about a custom audience of a specific neighborhood. Custom audience. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Yes, it should. That should work if you can get enough people on that audience. And that's a good way around the housing category limitation around location. It's a very good idea, actually. I should record a separate video about that as a workaround. But yeah, to refresh everybody's memory, we did a lot about retargeting about 2 months back. We did a whole week on retargeting. But you can come into the Facebook Ads Manager and you can upload a list of people. So if you've got residents of a specific area and you have their contact info, that makes a lot of sense to make sure that you're only hitting them. Cool. Good questions, guys. I'm going to keep working through those. Anthony's saying he noticed that with alerts and frequency of ASAP, they never get sent to the leads. Definitely ask support. The only thing that I don't know for sure, but I wonder if that's a limitation with the MLS. Now, if it is a limitation with the MLS, with the IDX feed, because I know that they vary, then maybe we shouldn't have that option in there for your in your settings. But if I had to venture a guess at why that is, it's probably that. Unless I'd read out support, unless it's just broken. Could be. Something could be up. Yeah, so Juan's saying how to best start with KV Core for a newbie, had it for a while. This is a little bit over your head. So do we offer a rookie level class? So what we do is every weekday at 1 p.m., we run through our quick start course. So the course you can access from the learning portal under support and training. You can go, and it should be up at the top right here, and you can go to the quick start course. But on our live training calendar, Juan, at 1 p.m. Eastern, we've got our Agent Quick Start series. So part 1, 2, 3, 4, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that's a really good place to go for the basics. Do the course and go live, and the trainers are on, and they can answer any really basic questions you have. Cool, Elizabeth, you uploaded the audience. You had name, email, phone, or you had enough data for Facebook to create enough of an audience, or does Facebook do it based on the address? I wonder if they do. Forget. Can they find the person based on their street address? But that's a really interesting approach. They don't do it based on address, but you had enough data. Yeah, so if you have the data in a specific farm, makes a lot of sense. Actually, yeah. Now my head's spinning on that, because there's probably data sources you can go to where you can get just the addresses, and then you can run those addresses against some data sources and pick up additional info like emails and phones. Thanks has like some of that built into it, thanks.io. So I'm sure there's other things out there you can run that against to scrub that. So Anthony's saying he has a client that wants to pay more than X, doesn't want to pay more than X on taxes. How do you find that filter? They might not be in there. The tax amount might not be a filter. So what I always say when you run into a situation where either KV Core or the IDX feed doesn't get as granular as the client wants, just get them into your MLS. And the alerts themselves, these are mostly designed to get people talking to you and interacting. And if they're talking to you and interacting, then the alerts are good enough, fine. Just let that be like that. You have a little conversation, they're not quite ready to move, whatever, you let that go for a while. But if you're not finding the search query that you need, that's an opportunity to say, hey, my website system just doesn't do that. I'm going to move you over into the good stuff. I'm going to give you the private realtor database, right? You can position it to sound cool, like you're doing them a service, something, and just let them know that you're going to set them up in a different system and your MLS can send it. Wish I had a better answer, but it's just hard to think of every filter in these alerts. You can certainly put a feature request in to have taxes be one of them, the tax amount. But even so, it's hard for us to account for every little thing that might come up that might be wanted in an alert, or the product team knows that people want this and they just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. I was just looking here. I don't think I see taxes, right? As you're saying. Roger's asking, it's a good question. How do I avoid having to log in to get full access to my own KV Core website after viewing 2 properties? It shouldn't make you log in if you're, do I have this wrong? But if you're logged into KV Core, I thought it didn't make you log in. But if I had that wrong, yeah, let me go to my site. Let's play with this, guys. So I'm logged into KV Core. Oh, what it is that I'm logged in as a lead, one of the demos I've done. And KV Core does a good job of keeping you logged in, the actual website. So if I'm here, it doesn't matter that I'm logged into KV Core. What happens if I click my website from the top right? Does it log me in? No. Well, a few things, Roger. You can log in, and it should keep you logged in for a while. Just log in as yourself. The other thing you could do is make yourself a no login link. You can get a little fancy and bookmark it. So if I go to Lead Engine here and I go to Build Squeeze Page, and then what I would do, maybe just pick my whole area or draw on a map. Basically I'm going to build myself kind of a destination page, but I'm going to set my property views to never, to allow before registration. Generate link. Then I'll go to the link. And then I'll bookmark it. So whenever you go to your site, if you don't want to be prompted to log in, this is a link that kind of kills the registration. And I'm pretty sure you can just go to any other pages on the site and you won't be prompted to register for a while. Hope that helps. Anthony's saying it's under keywords. The tax thing. Let me see here. Alert settings. Oh, tax. You want to, yeah, I get what you're saying. There should be a greater than less than. Thank you. Sorry, I went on that long rant about that. The MLS is probably still the answer short term, but that would make sense if it's tax annual amount and then you put less, minimum and then maximum, basically, is what the expected behavior might be there. And I'm sure it just wasn't accounted for when they were thinking about the keywords. Yeah, the support team might know of a way to enter here so that it does get you a range, but I'd probably not. Okay. Sure. Elizabeth's asking if I could briefly discuss API Nation. Yeah, it's an alternative to Zapier, and it is working pretty well at this point. There were issues in the past for a little bit. So API Nation basically builds a suite of tools that help you connect KV Core to third-party stuff. So if I go to API Nation integrations, they have a few different specific things that you can bridge KV Core to. The biggest, probably most popular one is our Facebook lead ads bridge. So you don't have to pay the $25 or so a month to Zapier in order to send data from a Facebook lead ad into KV Core. So if I want to do that, I go here and I click on Facebook lead ads. I authorize the connection. And this is only needed, guys, if you're running your own traffic. So next here, I select my page. Okay, and I select my lead gen form that I've created. And now here, the stuff on the left gets from Facebook gets mapped over to the stuff on the right in KV Core. So one thing that people commonly do is they add a custom field for the hashtag is probably the biggest thing. Extra thing you'll want to do here. And then whatever that source is, you might be starter homes. And I think I need to drag it over. Did it go? I had the same issue last time. Does anybody remember me struggling here? Pretty sure it needs to end up over on this side. Stay. So maybe that part is still a little bit buggy. I'm pretty sure the hashtag needs to go over here, but they have documentation on that. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Probably doing something wrong here. But yeah, that's a quick overview. Were there any other questions on API Nation? I don't know. I did actually have that same problem last time where I was trying to drag it over, wouldn't go. And eventually it did. I just kept doing it. Oh, look. Yeah, so it put it on the left side here. And then it kind of like linked it. So I think it worked. Oh. All right. So I didn't have much else. That's the end of the questions. The only other thing I want to share with you guys is Thanks.io has this new feature. It made me think of something you guys could do that lets you watch and listen to your recipient with the QR code. So the QR code basically becomes like Alexa, and it starts listening to everything the recipient's doing at their house, and it starts watching them. It turns into a camera. So you can see the nice picture of it. So if you want to really like send postcards to people and really know what they're doing in their house, you can click here and enable that in if you're using Thanks.io in your account. Just kidding, guys. I don't know if I can't hear or see your outrage. Yeah, it's an April Fool's joke. But it brought to something to mind, and the last minute I was like, oh, this would be cool to talk about on the webinar today. You might want to consider sending an April Fool's joke to your database. It's kind of a fun thing you can do. I can try to think of something on the fly, and if I do think of something, I'll post it in the Next Level members area. This is icky territory because I could recommend something a little crazy that gets somebody in trouble, and then I can get in trouble. But if you sent an email, for example, you would go into marketing, you would use the schedule mass email, and then I don't know what a joke would be, but you could do an open house. I don't know. Could you do an open house at a property that's like way underpriced or way overpriced? On Halloween, I like to do haunted house. But yeah, you could write a blog post about how property values are set to come down, 93% because of some new city ordinance. The reason that this is sticky, guys, is I don't know. Will you get in trouble if it's kind of not, if it's not true? So you kind of have to be clever about, make it so obnoxiously not true that nobody would possibly think it was. But I'm going to leave that there. Just something to consider. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day, so if you want to engage your audience a little more, maybe you post something. And if I come up with something good, hopefully I will between now and tomorrow. I'll either post it in the Facebook group or Next Level. Maybe give you guys an idea for a real estate focused April Fools you could do that won't get you sued. Yeah, there you go. So Patricia says a picture of a house that's decayed to the, that's really bad. So like this. Let's see if we can, got a little more time. So I always go house with structural issues. Okay, all right. I'm getting an idea because I'm hanging around for the idea. All right. I need a really bad one. Okay. I'm gonna go make a blog post in KV Core. Patricia gave me help. Thanks, Patricia. You got me thinking. So let's add a post. Okay. New St. Pete, up and coming St. Pete housing developer focuses on crack house chic. What would the building style? Floor plans or something like that. So it's just hard to do talking to you guys, but so you'd make up a fake name like Kaiser Soze. I'll come up with a better Kaiser Soze of crack sheet builders recently showed us his plans for a new downtown development. Crack house chic. Is crack house like derogatory? If it is, I apologize. I don't know. Maybe it's a little insensitive, but what could you use? You could use TLC chic. Let's go a little safer here. TLC chic. What do you guys think? Am I just nuts here? Am I grasping? TLC chic. Let's get away from crack house. Chic homes in Midtown or something. Downtown. Basic concept is that your house will look like a bomb has hit it. Jose says. This is really good. This is something a lot of Gen Z buyers want because due to their socialist leanings, I don't know, guys. They prefer to not look like they have money. Nobody is commenting, so I don't know if you guys are shaking your head. It is the end of the week. It's Thursday. There's been 4 of these already. I'm getting tired. We're all getting tired. But because they're socially, they prefer not to look like they have money. Here's a few pictures of the TLC homes, and then you put a few pictures of these great houses you find, and then at the end, I always end my April Fool's jokes with some kind of punchline, you know, to get on the early bird list to be notified when these homes are available to see. Click here, and then I link over to my Mr. T saying I pay the April Fools, but you could link to a page that gives them the punchline. But it needs to be kind of silly and outrageous. So, I would start to add the pictures like so. I would have had this prepared for you guys ahead of time, but I literally thought about it at like 1:55. Let's see here. Let's save it. Save image as crash sheet. Desktop. This is how you add an image to a blog post, by the way. Save as draft. I guess I have to publish it to look at it. Any comments? Or are you guys all just shaking your heads and ready to leave now? Is anybody going to do an April Fool's joke today? I'm sure we can think of other ideas, but I like that idea, Patricia, starting with something that's decayed, or just saying, yeah, there's an open house down at a local Shell. That's another way to go. Now I see what you're saying there. So, you know, you could say, yeah, free food provided, all the cockroaches you can eat, something like that. I don't know. And then you would mail a link out to this blog post. Now, I definitely do need to get this off the site because it's not quite ready. And the broker is going to call me and wonder what the heck is going on. So I'll get that off for a minute. So that's what I got, guys. Just an idea. Try an April Fool's joke. Question from Tatiana. I have some seller leads with phone numbers. How can I connect them for a seller's campaign? Oh, you want to put them on a campaign? And you need to get them into KV Core. So first step is to get them into KV Core. If it's just a handful, just manually add them first. If not, if it's a good bunch and it would take too long to kind of manually do the data entry, use our lead import service here. You can either do it yourself or you can let our team do it for you. Once they're in, then you would go and filter by them. You're going to want to give them all the same hashtag, or if they came from a specific source, make sure that happens on the import or the data entry. And then in order to get them all in the same campaign, you would go to Smart CRM right here and filter based on the hashtag or the source. So you come into contact details and pick like a source hashtag. I'll just pick a random one here. Hit apply filters, and then you get the list of those leads from your data set. And then you can check them. And then under more actions here, you can add them all to the campaign all at once. So I assume you have a seller's campaign built, ready to go. If not, you'll want to do that first, but hopefully that makes sense. But that's how you do it. All right, guys. Well, you're welcome. Just a little bit of housekeeping. If you look at the calendar, this was the last Zoom. This is the end of the quarter. So I had scheduled all these Zooms, the current Zoom link out for the quarter. And I am getting some people who are like, hey, I don't need these updates every day anymore. So I am going to refresh the Zoom link next week. So it'll be a different link. I'll make sure it's on the main KV Core calendar. It'll be a new Zoom link when you visit here. And I've been hinting, I'm going to probably play around with the schedule. I am out of office on Monday. So we're not going to have a session Monday. And you may see some different times for these sessions, just kind of working it out internally, like what they're going to look like. But we'll be back next week in some form, maybe the same time, maybe different. Just wanted to make you guys aware of that who are here. So yes, Patricia, I'll get to that session on RSS feeds. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I kind of went on this tangent with this homeowner survey this week, but I thought it was a good one. And I'm really encouraged that somebody opted in. Now, we won't know if it's going to work till we get about 10 leads, but hopefully you guys are liking trying to have a theme week by week, or have a running story here so everything kind of ties together instead of just touching on things here and there and not closing the loop. But I guess the RSS feed thing does need to be closed because we did bring that up. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great April Fool's Day. Please prank somebody. If you do something fun, share it. Let me know. If you do something fun real estate related, I would love to see it. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one.